Hi, welcome to Sacred Enzyme. I'm Stacy, and today I'm sharing some stories of different things that I've encountered through my life and chronicling them. And one of the stories I want to talk about is when I've astral traveled with my mother. Now, I mentioned in one of the other videos that I'm very connected with my mom and her mom, and we were raised as spiritualists, so we've always just kind of been tapped in. I don't know how else to say it. And it was never really anything that was foreign to me because it's just the way I was raised. If you're raised a certain way, then you don't think anything different. And there's two different stories with my mom when I was astral traveling with her. But the first one was when my brother Kevin had passed away. My mom, and it was terrible. We were so destroyed by it. He died very suddenly. He had a stroke. And my mom, I was so worried about my mom. I didn't think she was going to make it. I really didn't. She was just so destroyed by losing her child. And, she was grieving. And when you grieve, you can close yourself off. And, my mom, she's had a lot of things that's happened to her through her life. And she lost her father at a very young age. She never had a chance to grieve because she had 4 other siblings that she was instantaneously the caregiver for, because my grandmother, she was dealing with her stuff too, but my mom never got to be a kid, so I think to this day she's still not even grieved for her father. And then, she lost my grandmother, my mom lost her mother in 2008, and, my mom, there was not one single day in her entire life that she didn't talk to her mother. And, I was the same thing. It was the same thing for me. I mean, my grandmother, I can never remember a time that my grandmother wasn't with us. She lived literally houses down from us my entire life. And I talked to her and seen her every day. And my mom, when she lost Kevin, when Kevin passed away, my mom was grieving so bad. It was so bad. And so my brother came to me, and we went to my mom and dad's house, and we were in the living room, and my mom was crying, and my brother and I were I'm just standing there like an observer. I don't know if I had just be the one that carried the conversation or what. So we're standing there, and my mom is crying, and my brother doesn't want her to be sad. He doesn't want her to be sad, and he's telling her, this and that, and she's like, I'm never gonna see you again. And he's like, he walked over, and he says, oh, Mom, he said, if you want to see me, he says, anytime you want to see me, just look into the trees. That's what he said, just look into the trees. And she said, but I don't have any trees. They cut all the trees down in their yard. We'd had a bunch of hurricanes over the years, and so all the big trees that they had to take them down. Matter of fact, my brother was the one that cut down the last tree in the backyard. Him and one of his friends came over and did it. Kevin did. And so he walks over, because my mom's just standing there sobbing and crying, and he walked over and he put his arm around her like this, and he pulled her in, and he said, well, we'll plant one together. And she said, okay. But, they planted a tree in the front yard. My mom bought a tree for my dad. She bought the snowball bush. And she has red cardinal shows up every single day, practically. And so my mom puts bird food out there for him. And my brother also had a pet squirrel named Chippy that showed up one time after a really bad storm. And he had this little squirrel for a pet, and it was just the cutest thing. It would just climb all over him. Just loved my brother. And my brother, we all loved animals, so. And so they have a little pet squirrel that comes up to the porch and helps himself to the bag of bird feed. He'll go up there and get in there and get his stuff and eat, and then he'll go and climb up underneath the gate and leave. But it's interesting that, these animals show up. And I don't believe that's coincidental. And then, when we were little, we spent some time living in Michigan, about 9 years probably. And one of our favorite times of year was when the leaves would change. And in Michigan, there's a lot of maple trees, and they have the most beautiful golden leaves. And around fall, and it was Thanksgiving Day. And you know, in Florida, there's not a lot of maple trees, and in the neighborhood that my parents live in, I've literally never seen a maple tree, honestly. And when I got out, I walked up to my mom and dad's gate, and I looked down, and there were two beautiful orange maple leaves right there by the gate. And I looked at it, and I heard in my head my brother's voice, and he said, "Give these to Mom from us." And so I gave her the leaves. And then there was another time that my brother came to visit me, and well, there's been a few times, but he wanted me to tell his wife, he wanted me to go tell his wife to start planting a garden, to start gardening, about plants, and he wanted me to tell her about doing some artwork. And so I've tried to pass that on. I passed it on through one of her friends. She's just not ready to receive it yet. But and then another time that I was astral traveling with my mother, and this is an interesting time because this is the time that I saw a otherworldly being. And this didn't happen to me until I became a vegetarian, and I've been a vegetarian about a year. And so after I cut blood out of my diet, it made a really big difference. And so this dream that I had, my mom and I were walking around a big piece of property, and the only way I could describe it is like, I don't know if you've ever been to a place that boards horses for people. You know, they have all these outdoor stables, and you can walk through the middle. It's kind of like an alcove type thing, and then all the horse stables go along both sides. Well, I was showing her this property, and I was walking around, and I was like, "Isn't this place beautiful? This place is so beautiful." And we were just talking about how beautiful everything was, and you know, how beautiful the trees were, and how beautiful the sky looked, and everything. And then we walk like we're going into this big stable, this big outdoor stable. So we're standing at the very end, and you know, the sun's right here, and we're standing right here, and you could just look all the way down and to see all the stalls. And I turned to my mom, and I'm facing my mom, and my mom's standing here, and I'm standing here, and we're just talking. And then all of a sudden, my mom says, "Look, there's a ghost. Oh my gosh, look, a ghost." All right, I'm not talking about my dogs are getting up. Anytime I say to look at something, they jump up. So I turn and I look, and when I look, there is this humanoid. I don't know how to describe it. Honestly, I don't. Until I watched it, I ran across this because I looked up this thing for no end on the internet and could not find anything about it. But it looked like a woman, but it was a bird at the same time. Only way I could describe it is if you took like an eagle or an owl and you hybridized it with a person. It had a bird nose. It had like this shaggy, like feathery looking white hair that was coming out and sticking out. And it was wearing like this, you know, I didn't really pay too much attention to the clothes because they were nondescript, but it almost looked like a cape made out of like a natural type, sack type material, like a flour sack that was not bleached, if that makes sense. And it was kind of like a dress type cloak thing. And I don't remember seeing the feet or anything like that because it was kind of long, and I was really just caught off guard. And then I felt like it was a woman, and it just took its hand up like this and pointed its finger. And for some reason I thought like it was gonna shoot something out the end of its finger. I don't know if it was pointing or what, but I just immediately, instinctively reacted by putting my hand up like this. And I don't know why. I get so mad at myself when I wake up after I have these dreams because I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you ask? Why did you react differently, you know? But see, we've been so conditioned in our brain, and when you see something like that, it's startling because you logically can't make it out. And so, and when I did that, I woke up and it was over. But, you know, it was, and then it was interesting because I started seeing like owls and stuff after that. Like when I would go to the store, and I had never really noticed any owls, at the thrift shop and stuff. And I'd go to the store, and there were like owls on pillows, owl statues. I mean, it was like owls were everywhere. And I was thinking, okay, what in the world is going on with this? And then I had 2 owls that were outside of my house, and they were just hooting. Hoo, 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 hoo. I mean, just really going at it. And I went out there, and there were these 2 beautiful, huge owls, and they were all different colors. They were white and brown, and I mean, just gorgeous, gorgeous owls. I've never seen them again. I've never seen them again. So that was a really interesting thing where I seen a bird type being. And then just last week I was watching the Jeff Morrow podcast, and he had this guy on there, because I love his show. I really love it. And there was a guy on there who was saying that he was seeing UFOs when he was a kid, and he's a twin, which I thought was interesting, because we go right back to bloodlines, and twins run in these bloodlines. And he's half of a twin, but he was seeing UFOs and stuff, and he talked about seeing this owl being, and he showed a picture of it. I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, oh my gosh. I had to email Jeff Morrow, and I was just like, what he's talking about is true. And he had one of those creatures on top of him, like I had on me, that was trying to get inside of my stomach when I came home from having that surgery. And I talked about that at the time. I called it Mara, M-A-R-A. But he talked about it on the Jeff Morrow podcast. Isn't that funny? But it said it was either an incubus or a Mara that was on me, and it was clawing at me. And then I was calling for God to help me. And when I was doing that, I heard, say the power of Christ compels you. So I kept saying, the power of Christ compels you, the power of Christ compels you, the power of Christ compels you. And literally, as soon as I said it the 3rd time, which is interesting, because they say the Holy Trinity, 3rd time's a charm, whatever, the corner of my roof opened, and this huge hand came in and grabbed a hold of this thing with 2 fingers and picked it up and threw it. Just threw it back like that, just flung it. And the thing went right into the corner of the roof, and it had opened up, and I could see the universe outside. It was like a black night sky with stars and everything, as far as you could see. And the hand drew back, the ceiling went back to the way it was, and it was gone. And then I was able to move, because it had caused me to be paralyzed. I couldn't move anything except my eyes. I couldn't scream. I couldn't do anything. And it was trying to get inside me. It was trying to get inside of me. Well, he was saying that those are from the reptilian type extraterrestrial group, and that they feed off of people's souls. And I was just like, whoa, no way. I mean, that totally tripped me out. And so I did find the guy had a channel on YouTube, and I tried to comment about it and tell him, because he was like in turmoils about it. And I said, hey, I just want to tell you that you're not crazy, so don't think you're crazy, because I've had the same stuff happen to me. And I never heard from him, and I went back to check, because I thought, well, maybe I don't have notifications turned on. And he deleted the comment, so I don't know. So maybe he's just not ready to face it, or he just wants to talk about it and not have a conversation with anybody about it. I can't say. I can't speak for anybody. But it is reassuring to know that I'm not the only one that's had this happen. And, just because I haven't seen a UFO per se, or I haven't been on a UFO, it doesn't mean that these entities don't come to you. And they have. And I'm going to end this video now, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you about the time that I had a visit from a insectoid type being in my house. And that's a weird one, because that was the 3rd thing that he had talked about. It was being visited by these insectoids. So with that, I'm going to end this video, and I hope to catch you on the next one. So when you come find me, I'll be here, reliving the past, present, and the future, all at the same time. So thanks for watching Sacred Enzyme. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.